Small. Wow, tiny.
You are currently listening to Tiny Table,
where we explore TTRPGs you might not have heard of.
Whether big or small, we hope to cover them all.
Because we know that great things can come in tiny packages.
Here, there, be monsters is dead. Light up that Molotov cocktail in your hand, throw on that necklace made of human tongues, and pack yourself a bowl of that fine Haven hash as we get ready to smoke up and dissect in this post-mortem. Ooh.
What a delightful game we've got here.
What a delightful game indeed. And moreover, what a delightful book. Like, what a delightful read. This is probably next to Morkborg and Yeld, like the most illustrated and kind of visually characterized book that we've gone through. It has a lot going on just in the art direction that is immediately appealing right off the bat, and I think is one of the reasons we were very drawn to putting it on the poll.
Yeah, the art direction throughout the book is stellar. There's an interweaving of a good variety of styles without it coming across as entirely like frenetic. The kind of main standouts we'll see is there's an artist who's clearly done a lot of direct contributions to the book, who has a bit of a thin pencil style, does very angular bodies, really knows how to like distort along angles, and kind of hits that good DIY punk aesthetic while still on a literal level being quite well constructed and pleasing to look at. And then it interweaves those with lots of like pop art pastiche, collage work, simpler sketches. And it's just enough variety in the art department that it keeps feeling like it's a new look every page, but it doesn't just hit that point where you're like, okay, we're just playing Calvin Ball aesthetically.
It's really nice that there are so many different styles of illustration. I feel like it really reflects the world of Here There Be Monsters, because there are so many different types of monsters. So it's really cool that there's so many different pieces of art. I feel like every monster in the list gets some kind of art to represent it. So it's a very colorful world, of all kinds. It takes all kinds of folks in here. And I want to give a shout out to the artist Lino Aruda. It's really fantastic work.
Yeah, and as you were saying, there's 100 different monsters, I believe, as well as a variety of locations, groups of enemies, so many different tables for traits, magic, inspirations, and things that you can pull from. And the vast majority of all of these different things, hundreds of different elements, have some sort of illustration or some sort of representation visually within the book. And it is a collage of a variety of different styles, but as you were saying, Julian, there is still a sense of cohesion amongst it all. There is a through line that helps keep it feel very connected, which I think is important to the ethos of the game, because it is all of these different monsters, all of these different elements coming to be together and coming for like a similar cause. So the fact that you have such wide variety but still such a very strong through line, I think is great, both for the art direction as how that is reflective of the actual like game elements.
100%. I'd love to just kind of do a quick round robin and have us each identify like our favorite individual piece of art from the book and give it a little description for the audience at home. Hey, audience at home, when we play these games, you should buy them. You should get these games and support the artists, especially if they're games like this that were community submissions. Neo, how about you start us out?
My favorite drawing is definitely on page 86 of the PDF. It is the werewolf on the motorbike, the trans werewolf with the dildo armbands, and it just, it's so beautiful. I really wanted to play a werewolf just based on this illustration, but we've already had a couple of secret werewolves, so I decided to pivot.
The thing I love about that werewolf art in particular is that it's like the human form of the werewolf is riding a motorcycle, and then the werewolf is growing out of the human form's back and riding the human form like a motorcycle. And like the human has like motorcycle handles growing out of their elbows. And I'm like, what a grand like illustration for the metaphor of werewolfism, especially because like also the human form versus the werewolf form are like at different points of physical transition on like a gender level. Like the werewolf has top surgery and the human form does not yet have top surgery. The werewolf has like a short kind of fur, the human form has like long hair. So like, cooking. Oh, so cooking on like lycanthropy as a gender transition metaphor visually. Mine, not quite as elaborate, but one that I just think is a very effectively distilled piece of kind of the themes of the work in a single monster illustration is the Sassi on page 74. Sassi is a bit of Brazilian folklore that kind of incorporates like older indigenous like Tupi imagery from the region with like ideas brought in from like enslaved Africans who were like imported by the Europeans during the colonial times in Brazil, and is like a one-legged black boy with a red cap and like smoking a pipe. He's like a kind of a one of the OG like trickster spirit type creatures, and specifically in the art in this book, he is like kind of giggling to himself, pipe in one hand and keys to a cop car in his other hand as he is like hopping away from a police vehicle in the background. And I'm like, that's it. That's that image is Here There Be Monsters to me, is like a little monster kid who is, you know, very obviously like there as kind of an embodiment of a racialized, oppressed other. Like, he's getting away with it. He's literally hopping away with it.
Hell yeah. Mine is somewhat of a cop-out answer, but it's very funny to me. So my favorite is going to be on page 106. If you all listened to our post-mortem, our review of Morkborg, you might have heard us describe a page of a dude with a dozen or 24 different weapons just sticking out of them, with each of the weapons being labeled as weapons you can use in the game. In Here There Be Monsters, there is this exact same dude with, I think, the exact same number of weapons just sticking out of him. This dude is fucked up. There's spears, arrows, swords, knives, hammers, all kinds of things just sticking out of this one poor soul who, if I can be completely honest, doesn't even look that fazed by it, all things considered.
He's like, Mondays.
So I think for the hilarity of it and the fact that it has shown up twice, it's got to be this guy.
He's booked and busy.
He's booked and busy.
And to round us out, my favorite art is on page 112 in the PDF. I don't even really know what to describe this monster as. It looks like a kind of like haggard werewolf, fox, like humanoid, like just very creature-esque. But the thing that I love about them is that they're doing like alchemy and witchcraft over a table, and like you see like the mixture of like the spell components and the cauldron and the spell book, but also there's like alchemy jars and stuff. Like, I don't know. I like the mixture of the monster and the very thin pencil style or pen style, just mixed with like this alchemy and everything. I don't know. It feels very evocative of like NPCs that we even had in our own game.
Yeah, very true. To jump in a little on the game part of the game, this is kind of continuing in a style that, to my understanding, and apologies to the audience if I'm wrong because I have not read it yet, this is kind of in the mode of a game like Electric Bastion Land, where the literal mechanics of this game are very thin. There is the core resolution mechanic, you know, the 2d6, 3 take highest if you've got a good tag, 3 take lowest if you've got a bad condition, and then a little side system for magic. You saw the totality of the main rules in our play, and you can probably identify from listening to the actual play, there's only a few of them. The only system we didn't really get to interact with due to it being a system for longer form play is a system around defining your character's needs and wants. and then kind of tackling those over the course of various story beats, which I think is an interestingly designed system. And from what I read of it, I imagine it plays very smoothly. But, you know, it's a game that's like 150 pages, of which maybe 6 pages worth are rules. And the vast majority of it is like reference content. Not even like reference like, oh, like how spells are referenced in 5th edition, right? Where it's like, okay, my wizard class fits on 2 pages, but really it fits on 100 pages because I need to read all the spell rules. Like, I'm talking reference like world inspiration, like NPC generation lists, like various artifacts one could find and utilize. Things that are not mechanized, but are used for elaborating on the world, giving inspiration for the narrative. I think it's an interesting way to approach the design for an RPG like this. I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts on this kind of a balance of mechanics to inspiration in the text.
Yeah, I would say so. When I first saw the PDF page count, I was a little intimidated, but so much of it was just like beautiful art and reference material. I really got lost in it. It was very fun to read. The rules are all very concise, which made it really easy to learn and very fun to play. I did feel myself strain a little bit, I think. I was like, okay, there's this like kind of one mechanical note, you know, and maybe this is a habit we picked up from Broke Wizards, but when you allow us to argue for our tags to be as a third dice, we were getting pretty creative, although all of them fit, all of them were totally justified, so it became kind of largely a 3d6 roll over 2d6, which, you know, I'll take it, I'll take that. I like that part.
Yeah, as the person who reviewed the game before we put it up onto the poll, I was also very pleasantly surprised at how easily digestible it was. The fact that it provides you with so many materials to get yourself immersed into the world of Here There Be Monsters, as well as get you quickly invested in the characters and everything. You know, our first episode was dedicated to the actual creation of the characters and the NPCs in the world, and I feel like having that establishing element is super important for a game like this. In regards to the actual balance between material content tables and literal mechanical rules, I think from a player perspective, this is certainly something that is going to be super easy to pick up. It's going to really resonate with a lot of people, and it's going to get people invested in pretty immediately because you already have 100 different, you know, monsters and characters and things to pull from. It provides you with so much creative workload up front, which takes a lot of the sort of stress of like, ooh, can I make an interesting character? Ah, man, is this gonna be, you know, is this gonna fit the world? Is this gonna feel right? It kind of puts you in there super quickly, so you don't have to worry about like whether or not your character is going to mesh with or break the cohesion of the world, because all of the examples they give you, including one that is literally you isekai'd into this world, are all meant to be freaks and weirdos fighting for something that they want, and it provides you everything you need as a player to immediately get the themes, get a cool character up and running, and start playing all within like half an hour to an hour. And you can do it all at table right out of the book, essentially.
Yeah, it was a super fun time playing the game. I think, given the rules light nature, I do appreciate the addition of needs and wants into the system for a long form play, because I think for my specific tastes, I like a good level of wish fulfillment and some, you know, rules to crunch on. I think the game is really good at doing wish fulfillment because you feel really powerful, and especially being able to customize your like statements that are able to give you more dice to roll. I think that lends to a lot of creativity, which lends to a lot of really awesome storytelling moments because you're not being bogged down by rules. And I think in a long form play where, you know, you want maybe some more conflict, some more pushback to make those wins feel even better, the addition of the needs and wants system gives an extra like thing that you're striving for, which I think is cool.
I think that the one area that I found I was kind of chafing with the system was once we were playing at the table, I found that with how light the game's mechanics were on the ground, all the DM support I found in the book was in the form of broader prompting of the situation, right? For example, the scenario I put y'all into where you're dealing with the Watchers of the Many-Angled One, they've had this rally, they all die at the rally, and then we're trying to figure out, like, okay, what's going on? And then the, like, elaborating kind of B-plot that interweaves is this, like, corpse theft, right? I've got that whole thing is from the book, right? I took 2 of the different entries from the Encountering the Watchers table, of which there are 6 entries, and I synthesized them, right? Rally gone wrong, missing grandma corpse, Nazis are involved, how does that work? And it led me to a point where I could very easily construct a basic scenario, and then I kind of threw a little sprinkle on there of, and the Bureau are watching, right? And I liked having that support for the setup of the thing. And I think having, for example, the players up front enumerate what they want in the adventure, I love that. That's a thing we saw in Yeld that we didn't really get to interface with, so I loved having a chance to really play around in that space of the players, like, give me a list of wants. I, as the organizer, take a little time in my cloister, emerge, and say, okay, here's an adventure that fulfills those wants. I love that. Super fun. But once we were playing, we would hit, like you said, Neo, it's not hard to get it such that you will have your 3d6 take the 2 highest on your rolls. Your character gets 6 tags. You're probably, by the time you're trying to do anything risky or uncertain, you're probably going to be doing it in a monstrous, exciting way, because given the chance to do monstrous and exciting things, players aren't going to say, no, I do it boringly and uninterestingly. And, like, I want to say it's a good thing, right? That, like, being encouraged to lean into your monstrous nature increases your chance of success. On a top level, I think that's a good thing, and I think it's a thing that should be encouraged. It did mean that failure was quite rare, and also when failure did happen, I felt very on my own for continuing to ratchet up the tension and the stakes. Like, other than establishing the baseline scenario of there's Nazis doing bad stuff, it felt a little out of my control how to continue the drama beyond, like, obfuscation of mystery and things that I was bringing to the table, right? Like, I know that now is a good time to introduce this B-plot because I, Julian, like, have a lot of GMing experience and I've got a good sense for when these things should happen, so now's a good time, right? But it was very much up to my own sense of, like, pacing and direction to do that. I didn't feel like I had any kind of guidance in that regard. And for a game that positions itself as, I would say this more of a narrativist type of game. This is not a simulationist game. This game is very concerned with, like, fulfillment of narrative desires. So it felt a little odd having a lot of support for the setup, but no real support for anything beyond the setup. I felt a little lost at points.
Yeah, because if we consider some of the fail states, there are some very interesting fail states. You can get multiple conditions that can, like, replace one of your key traits if you fail enough. You can end up sacrificing a piece of yourself if you want to cast a spell that's beyond your reach. There can be disastrous moments for if you roll a natural 1 on your d6 when casting a spell. But we didn't really run into that. To kind of touch on the magic system, which one I do love, you get 1d4 worth of words. I got 3. I was, pretty lucky. You could expect probably 2 to 3 on average. And the more of those words that you use, the more of the dice you get to roll, and you just take the highest one. You just take the highest singular dice. And in most situations, I was broke wizarding myself into using all 3 words and getting 3 dice and rolling 3 ones is gonna be pretty fucking tough. So there is something to be said that I think this game, with its current layout of the rules, is going to lean more into that wish fulfillment, your character succeed, because like no one wants to lose to the Nazis. Like I think like that's probably a big point and a big ethos of the game. But I don't think this is a game where you should necessarily expect, unless it's over longer form play, to be, gritty, challenging, and, hyper realistic. I think this is a game about, the others getting the W, and I think that's great.
Kind of to bounce off that last point you just said there, Skylar, I think through Tiny Table, we have encountered a lot of games that are really good for short-term play and games that are better for long-term play. And I would wager that I think that Here There Be Monsters is better for long-term play. It's kind of in the same way of Call of Cthulhu, of if you run a one-shot of Call of Cthulhu, you're not gonna go insane. Like chances are you're not going to lose so many sanity points that you're gonna go insane. And I think there's something similar with Here There Be Monsters of when you are doing a short form play like we do on the podcast, just the sheer number of times you're rolling dice is much lower than over a long-term play. And the more times you roll dice, the more times there are possibilities to have we've had 3 sessions that are so good, and oh my god, it's the pivotal moment and somebody rolled a 1 on their magic dice. Oh my god, fuck. And it's it kind of reminds me of the insanity system in Call of Cthulhu of you can go through many Call of Cthulhu adventures and not go insane until you hit that one that you go insane, and then that's the most memorable session. And I think maybe that is where it does its best, is that you can really you can be on a good roll and have this false sense of security because you're winning, and then there goes Lady Luck.
Oh yeah, Lady Luck and I have a contentious relationship. But I agree with you, Holly. I really think this game really benefits from long-term play because the world is so vast. There's a lot of emphasis on getting to know your NPCs, right? And making relationships. This needs and wants and beat system is really intricate, and I was a little sad we didn't get to interact with it in more detail. And the conditions becoming permanent, there are also artifacts passive artifacts over time can give you weird unintended side effects. So I think I would say this is a great game for middle to longer term play. It's a lot of wish fulfillment, it's a lot of OC Blorbo whirling around.
Yeah, I think you've all made some very good points, and I think I'll refine the thing I said earlier to be, I don't think this game would improve by having the characters fail more often. That's not the thing I think it should be. I think y'all are completely on the money. It's dope when you blow the Nazis up, and this should be a game about consistently getting to blow up the Nazis. That's awesome, and I don't want that to change. It was very cathartic, right? In that big final scene when it's yo, you've run up behind this guy, you have a fucking baseball bat, you got the drop on him because of your good planning, your good execution, your magic, your coordination as a team. You hit that dude in the head, he's fucking dead. He's not he doesn't have more hit points because he's the Nazi boss or whatever. He's a dude and he sucks. So you hit him with a baseball bat and he dies, and it's great. I think to refine what I had said earlier, I don't want this game to be more simulationist, and I don't want this game to make the characters fail more. I think the degrees of success it encourages are awesome. I agree as well that the longer term play on the with the scale of the math and the probabilities we're seeing in play here, I think I agree that long-term play will bring that out where you'd get the kind of dramatic arc of a serialized TV show, like a Leverage or something like that. A show about underdogs who win the day consistently, but once you've got a season's worth of episodic we win the day adventures where they show the big bad what for, you have a penultimate season 2-parter where something goes really wrong, because you finally hit a point where conditions had stacked up or a beat meant your needs and wants got pushed away from you. And then all of a sudden, you have those extra stakes for a big dramatic like second session, and that feels exciting. I think, to refine what I had said earlier, I don't want more failure. I want more tools for the GM to use when failure isn't happening. Because the only tool I had was, when they fuck up, give them a fucked up new thing to deal with. And I'm like sitting here holding a blank piece of paper going, can I have maybe like a list of some fucked up things per organization? Like, can I have like a list of like things the Nazis do when it gets worse? Things the Brotherhood of Thoth does when it gets worse? Like, give me a list of worse things, because I had a great list of opening bad things, but then no subsequent support.
Yeah, almost like supplementary material, or even an expansion. And maybe even giving you stuff of like when things are going right. Because I know that,
True.
you know, like, you are a master game mistress. You know, like,
Yay,
you
thank
are very experienced and super duper good at what you're doing in improv and storytelling. And I can see maybe someone who is newer to the scene or wanting to try out being the organizer, who maybe doesn't have this like forte. Like, even myself, like, you know, I've been a game master a few times, but I feel like I might be a bit intimidated coming into this system, not having as many like guardrails or as many handholds like as I'm climbing up.
Yeah, I would love to see what, like, maybe a published adventure for this system would be like. You know, that would be kind of what we're looking for in terms of, like, maybe a little bit more GM support in terms of the adventure. Not to say that this book lacks, you know, enemies or backgrounds or whatever. Like, all the bits on the Bureau and the Brotherhood of Thoth and the Many-Angled Watchers, or all those people, are really evocative. Like, there's so many, you know, people, baddies, scenarios. But I think, as Julian was saying, it's a lot of openings, and then it's like, now it's your turn, you figure it out. So a published adventure, I think, is what we're all hungering for.
With that, I'd love to kind of pivot us to talk about one of the systems a bit more in-depthly. As the player who got to engage with the magic system, I think they have something super interesting here. The gist that I'd kind of just gone over was, you get a small handful of words on a D66 table. It's 1d6 across, 1d6 down. And the words are super evocative. They're all very thematic. You're getting things like time, shadow, water, seed,
Void.
grow, void. Like, they're just one-word statements, and you get to have somewhat infinite flexibility with that one word. I don't think it's explicitly said, but I definitely highly encourage just straight up rolling for them. While you could go and pick, like, you know, the 1 to 4 most OP words on the table, I had the most fun, and I think for the majority of players, the most fun will be from scrapping together a makeshift list of spells with the words that the game has given you, or that your rolling has given you. Because for me, I got really excited when Silas would go in and, like, in the final scene, I, like, starved a dude instantly by voiding his stomach, changing it so that way he had no calories, and burning the calories with my fire so it was, like, all empty, you know? Like, that was crazy.
I really loved your, like, shadow trick where
Yeah.
you, like, got us through to the other side of the locked door with, like, combining all 3 words to, like, change the position of where we were based on the shadow from the fire. It was so good.
That was
It
my
was
favorite
great, it
spell
was
in the game.
great.
That was so fucking dope.
Yeah, and it's sweet, and you get, like, a lot of, like, you know, really, like, hype moments like that due to just sheer player creativity. I think what they have here is really interesting. And honestly, it's going to make it hard not to play a magic caster every single time, because the magic is that dope. I do like, even though we didn't really engage with it, that there are, like, failure states. I would have loved to see a fumble, even though a fumble didn't happen. And the thing that is really interesting to me is that if you can cast magic, you can technically cast any spell even if it does not involve the words that you're using, through sacrifice. They have a whole system where you can give up either an important artifact or an object or even one of your own tags to essentially cast any spell in the game, and it will work. No matter what, you will succeed on the spell. But how much you succeed and how much it costs you is gonna start to vary. If you sacrifice a piece of yourself, you will guaranteed get some sort of effect, but it might take that thing from you forever, or at the very least change it. And the effect, while it might succeed, only has, a 1 in 3 chance essentially of going stupendously well. And the others are like okay success and like fine success. So I think that the magic system, with all that it's got, both with the words and the sacrificial nature, is really, really enticing, and I would highly encourage those of you who are going to play it to definitely make some magic casters. It's really, really dope. One thing I'll kind of lead into before I'll pass it to anyone else who wants to talk about the system is I actually had a sort of secret thing planned with Silas. Silas was a very, very old fox spirit, and they say specifically within the text, the older you are, the more powerful you are, and the more tails you have. But Silas, for as old of a fart as he was, only had 3 tails. And that's because, kind of somewhat secretly in the backstory, I had this mental image that Silas had been cutting off and sacrificing his own tails to cast magic that would otherwise be beyond of his reach, to essentially like hunt Nazis for eons and eons and eons. Has been doing this for a long time and has been constantly like sacrificing a thing that's supposed to represent his power to like do it. And that never was able to come up, but ideas like that can be generated because the magic system is just so evocative, even in such few words as it has.
It's definitely, I think, one of my favorite magic systems we've encountered so far.
Yeah, I think evocative really is like the word of the game, isn't it? Like the art, the layout, the just the profundity of aesthetics and ideas. Like it gets the brain a spinning. And like I might have my quibbles with like certain lack of support structures, but like I don't want to come away from this sounding like I'm someone who did not like this game. This game rules, and I would definitely love to play a longer chunk of this game to really get to dig my teeth into it, because the world is just mwah.
One final thing, and perhaps my only complaint with the magic system, is simply where it's located. You have the 100 monsters and all the stuff for creating your character, and then instead of going into the magic, which is the other thing that might heavily pertain to your character, it goes into the setup of NPCs in the Haven. The magic doesn't come until after you've done all the other surrounding stuff, and I think this actually popped up in our first episode where we did all of our character creation, we even got our artifacts and everything, and then we made all the havens, and then we were sitting there at the end and I was like, hey, Julian, we still haven't done my magic words yet. And it's because it's literally placed after all that stuff. If it were up to me, I would just move magic like right under the character, like the end of the character creation, and then have all the NPC stuff afterwards. But like aside from that, it's probably my only complaint with the game.
And to round this out, I'm going to put out my PSA to all indie game designers. We love you guys so much. You gotta be putting all the character creation stuff in one portion. We can't be flipping back and forth. We love you guys. You guys are the reason we're here. We gotta be putting things in the correct order. And we just want to say a huge thanks to Wendi Yu, who was the creator of this game, and we will be interviewing them next week. We're very, very excited to do so. And thank you so much to everyone who has been submitting your games. Please keep submitting them. If we think they're a good fit for our table, we'll put them on our Tumblr for a larger poll, and then our Patreon for the final 3. That's how this game was chosen. We'll probably be doing another poll in the next month or so, so please keep an eye, ear, all of your senses out for that. Thank you guys so much for voting. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you then.
Later.
Take care.
Hi, and thank you for listening to our podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, then we'd really appreciate if you left us a review. If you really like what we do here and want to support us further, you can join us at patreon.com/tinytablepodcast. Our business email is also open for inquiries at tinytablebusiness@gmail.com, and all of our socials can be found in the episode description for any shenanigans you might want to follow. Till next time, see ya!